We just got new info for the upcoming game Batman Arkham Shadow, such as behind the scenes concept art, locations, and a conversation between Batman and the Ratcatcher. Be sure to like and subscribe, and let's get started. Camouflaj Studios has been posting screenshots and teasers for the game on Batman Arkham Video's Discord, and I don't want to waste your time, so here's screenshots of Arkham Shadow's collectibles. And if we look at the collections tab, we have 7 different collectibles with 3 of them revealed, which is the radio stations, which means you need to find radios that are hidden around the map and destroy them, which are used to spread Ratking's propaganda. Ratking's trophies that you will need to find and smash, and lastly interview tapes. Ryan Payton did mention that Riddler trophies weren't going to return, but I wouldn't be surprised if this was just to keep us excited for the surprise reveal, but we can only really wait till the full release to find out. But something I did notice is that they did put up a painting of a man, which the file name is labelled Arkham Ward Painting Puzzle, which makes me think that this is a scannable Riddler trophy, or maybe they have something else in store. Something that I discussed in my previous Arkham Shadow video is that there will be no alternative suits for Batman to wear, and shockingly the Camouflaj team used my video when explaining their reason. I believe this is from Ryan Payton himself, who responded to a fan asking about not having alternative suits. This is one of those areas I stand pretty firm on, which is probably disappointing for many people here. On the one hand, I understand the desire for alternative suits, as that's such a great element on the flat screen Arkham games, but I believe the value of them is greatly diminished in a first-person VR game that almost never cuts to third-person to show it off. Foeinform's hypothesis about the technical issues of adding alternative suits to Arkham Shadow is correct actually. And then he links the video. As you'll see when you play Arkham Shadow, there's a number of dependencies we have on the suit design, including the batarang placement, the smoke bomb holder, and one other slot we haven't talked about, ... That's not to say it would not be impossible to add the 1989 Batman suit to the game with design changes to accommodate Arkham Shadow's gameplay, but that's a lot of dev resources to invest in a feature we saw such limited engagement with in our previous title. Next we have 2 audio clips, which makes me super excited, so I'll just let them play first and then I'll explain later.
I'm Touchdown with today's financial headlines. After a delay that nearly caused a panic for shareholders, Wayne Enterprises has finally completed its acquisition of Cord Industries. CFO Lucius Fox and Ted Cord have... No, I'm on the air right now. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I've just been handed some breaking news.
This clip sounds like it could be the intro for Arkham Shadow, and interesting to see that Bruce Wayne has bought Cord Industries, which if you didn't know why it's so interesting, well, it's because it's owned by Ted Cord, who's the second Blue Beetle in the DC comics, and makes me wonder if this will play into the story as the next dialogue clip where Batman is interrogating the Ratcatcher. Ratcatcher specifically points out Bruce Wayne as being an issue, maybe meaning whoever is this Rat King could be a link to this deal going through and is unhappy with it.
Your so-called day of wrath will kill innocent people. How do you justify that?
Bruce Wayne hoards billions. More money than he'd be able to spend in 100 lifetimes. Meanwhile, we starve. We live on the streets. Ignored, invisible, yet greater in number every day. Our wrath is inevitable.
And your mysterious king? Where is he?
I will not speak of him to an outsider.
Tell me!
The Rat King will reveal himself on his day of wrath. Even I still have scales upon my eyes despite my devotion. He is coming. Even I do not know the hour or the day.
Enough! The Rat King is no messiah. He's just another criminal, and I'm going to take him down.
You may be wondering why this voice actor sounds so familiar. Well, it's actually because it's the voice of Azrael from Batman Arkham City and Knight, who's Carrie Payton, who also did the voice acting for Killer Croc and Warden Joseph in Arkham Origins. And just as a side note, this is brilliantly voice acted, of course, by Roger Craig Smith as well, who does express desperation really well, which definitely feels a lot more immersive and real, which he did amazingly in Arkham Origins also. Something that I love about the Camouflaj team is that they're pretty happy to take any criticism and they deal with it really well. Here's a good example from Ryan Payton on his personal Twitter, who says, "The Batman Arkham Shadow community spoke and we listened, added options to disabled speed lines, adjust combat widget brightness, and alter their colors ahead of our October 22 release. This is really useful as I guess some people have their preferences and maybe they felt that speed lines were too cartoony, so it's nice to switch them on and off. And also they have an option for screen shake to turn that off, which is really useful, especially for me who only just got a VR headset for the first time ever a week before Arkham Shadow's release. So I probably haven't adapted to using VR just yet, and I'll probably get stuff like motion sickness, so anything to make it easier on myself is welcome. Next we have mouse bombs, which I'm sure people have seen already, and I think they're pretty straightforward, but here's some exclusive screenshots. I believe they will be moving around in random directions, and once they spot you, Batman will need to hit the rat bomb with a batarang before it gets too close or it will explode. I don't believe they specified how much damage it will cause. I doubt it will be a one-hit kill, and it will probably just be more of a scratch to Batman. They showed it off how it will go from seeking to destroy, which is really cool that it has an indicator, and it's pretty obvious when it spots you, so it's nice, it gives you a clear understanding of if it's attacking you or not. Here's a bit of concept art that makes me so excited for Batman Arkham Shadow, and the reason I wanted to make this video in the first place, which is a file called Tea Time, which is a still image of Ratman, who you may remember is from the Scarecrow hallucination section from Batman Arkham Asylum. The reason this makes me hyped is the Camouflaj team said they will be exploring the origins of different villains, one being Harley Quinn and the other being Scarecrow, so it makes me think that we will be getting Scarecrow hallucinations sections, but in VR, which would fit so well in my opinion. This could be just to fit the theme of the game of Batman and the Rat King going up against each other, or it could just be graffiti that we'll see on the walls, but I would love to know if there's any meaning behind this. The file is also named Tea Time, which could be a reference to the Mad Hatter, but I feel like this might be a bit of a reach and is more of a joke that Batman is eating a rat for lunch. There's bits of music that they've given to us, one of them being the Ratman image had music in the background, but also a file named Music Track Sneak Preview, which I will play a small bit of each. The music sounds really good, and it seems like they just want to do their own thing rather than copy and pasting what Batman Arkham music they had. Which reminds me, I actually noticed in the 2016 Batman VR game is that they literally just took music from the other Batman Arkham games, and while doing a playthrough of the 2016 Arkham VR game for the first time, it actually took me out of the experience because I was actually thinking, wait, this song is Inner Demons from Arkham Knight, which is a huge nitpick I'm sure, but Camouflaj are most likely wanting to leave their own mark, so having their own music stand out is a huge plus in my opinion and shows they aren't messing around. Here's some screenshots that I will let play out, which shows off the environment and other details. We can see in this first screenshot called The Nail on the Head, which could be a chapter within the game, maybe where Batman finally figures out who Rat King is, or maybe there's a plot twist that we discover, I'm not sure, but I do see a rat bomb which I spoke about earlier in the corner of the screen. In this screenshot named Gotham City Radio is something probably like the Rat King has taken over a radio station and is broadcasting his propaganda, so we need to head to the GCR and shut it down. but that's pure guesswork also. In the next image we have a pop-up which has the radio station discovered, which is the Gotham City radio. So maybe we need to scan a radio that is playing a specific station and then we can listen to it whenever we want, or maybe it's just a collectible. In this next screenshot, it looks like caves that could maybe be old Gotham that has been built over and is being used by the Ratking, but we do see a statue in the background which is very similar to something in Gotham City, which looks to be the similar vibe to what we saw in Arkham Asylum. Something else interesting is the file name, which is called Memo Apostate, which after a bit of digging is a reference to their first game called Republic, which Camouflaj Studios made back in 2013, where a character is referred to be a Memo Apostate, which I believe is basically a rebel of a corrupt government, which kind of plays into the story of Arkham Shadow with the Ratking being a rebel and also wanting to take down the corrupt establishment.
Another treasonist was attempting to infect the minds of our youngest and brightest with lies, masquerading as divine text. This Mimeo Apostate will be dealt with in the same manner as the one who inspired him.
In this next screenshot, we can see a gate to a building with a billboard beside it, which surprisingly has Dr. Jonathan Crane on it, and apparently he is releasing a book which you can get a signed copy of at the Gotham Parchment, which from my guess could be a place where Scarecrow floods with fear toxin, as it would be the perfect place for his first attack, as it would be a crowded area, but of course this could be me overthinking. In this image it looks like we're sneaking up on the Ratcatcher, and maybe this is where we have the interrogation which we heard earlier. Next we have a gif of Batman playing with a makeshift Scarface to show off how interactive the game is, and I say makeshift as it looks pretty different to what we saw in the other Batman Arkham games, and if the ventriloquist is locked up he probably wouldn't have access to it. This image looks like when the screens have been taken over by the Ratking, but is green instead of red, which could mean some sort of Ratking and Riddler team up, or maybe they're going against each other, but this could be a reach. So the Riddler is anti-corruption, similar to the Ratking, especially at the time of Origins, so it could be interesting to see if he has any involvement. Image 9 just seems to show off how much detail there is on the wall. It's hard to know exactly where this is or how it will play into the story, but it's pretty cool. Next image is some text which is hard to make out for me personally, so it makes me think, is this some sort of dream sequence, as text can be blurry or nonsensical when you're dreaming. Here is an MP4 which shows off the lighting of the game. Honestly, I'm super hyped and cannot wait to get playing this game. Something I would love to see if this is successful is Batman Arkham Asylum, but remade in VR, as the devs said they took huge inspiration from Arkham Asylum, so I feel like this would be a perfect fit for a VR remake. Comment down below your thoughts. Are you excited for Arkham Shadow? And are you like me, where you bought a MetaQuest 3S just for this game? Be sure to like and subscribe. That's all for now. My name is Foeinform.